freezing cold. My face, my toes, everything, hands, even though I'm layered, it don't matter.
The brutal blanket of cold covering the Midwest turns deadly.
One of the challenges that every missionary has as they're applying for a mission is knowing when they're going to go and when they're going to come home.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has a new tool to help aspiring missionaries plan for the future.
That's why we set an ambitious 5-year goal to invest an additional $1 billion of new ongoing revenue into public education.
Governor Herbert announces an aggressive plan for education tax cuts in his annual State of the State address. Welcome to Newsline. It's Thursday, January 31st, 2019. I'm Amy Hamilton.
And I'm Maren Klein. Governor Herbert gave his 2019 State of the State address last night.
Newsline reporter Paige Johnson was there. Paige, what did the governor talk about?
The governor addressed a huge tax cut, education, air quality, and briefly gave his thoughts on Medicaid.
Utah Governor Gary Herbert delivered his 10th State of the State address last night at the Utah Capitol.
Can I tell you just how grateful I am that the Speaker didn't disinvite me from coming and delivering this year's State of the State?
The governor started out lighthearted, but then focused on many of Utah's pressing issues. The governor talked about Utah's booming economy and unaccidental $1 billion surplus in the state budget. He says that surplus is directly correlated to Utahns' hard work.
We should invest directly in the hard-working Utahns who created the surplus by giving them a $225 million tax cut.
The proposed tax cut would be the largest tax cut in the history of Utah. The governor expressed the importance of making accommodations for Utah's growth so that Utahns' quality of life won't suffer. In his speech, he did not say whether or not he approves of the Senate Medicaid plan, which many have described as a repeal.
For instance, the much-needed Medicaid expansion passed by the voters needs to be implemented in a fiscally sustainable way.
The governor also touched on air quality and possible solutions. He recommended energy-efficient state buildings, electric automobiles, and suggested giving incentives for pulling dirty diesel vehicles off the road. He says the Division of Air Quality estimates that those changes could reduce dangerous pollutants in the atmosphere by a total of 14,000 tons. Herbert also set a goal for education in the state.
That's why we set an ambitious 5-year goal to invest an additional $1 billion of new ongoing revenue into public education and $275 million of ongoing revenue into post-secondary education by the year 2021.
The money will go into scholarship funds, helping students at risk of academic failure, upgrading facilities, school counseling, and mental health services.
Herbert wrapped up his address by encouraging Utahns to engage in the spirit of cooperation to help make a more prosperous future.
Thanks, Paige. The Utah House Democrats released a video shortly after Governor Gary Herbert's State of State address. They posted a video in response to Herbert's speech.
In our House chamber. It means we represent and listen to the voice of the people. But sadly, many in the Utah legislature are not listening to the voices of
attaching strings or limiting the expansion goes against the express will of Utah voters.
Some propose we just cut taxes, but that's not good policy during a time of economic prosperity. Certainly, there are many things we can do to improve our state tax system.
And we'll be pushing to improve public safety and protect public health for all of our communities.
A shooting near Midvale Middle School overnight has police and the school on high alert. Police opened an investigation after finding shell casings and blood at the scene around 12:30 this morning. However, they were unable to find any suspects or victims. 2 hours later, a 16-year-old boy checked into a Mill Creek hospital but was uncooperative. Police do believe he is linked to the shooting. There is no indication the school had anything to do with the shooting, but there will be extra personnel on hand as an extra precaution.
A 4-year-old boy dies after a car crash in South Jordan, and his death could have been prevented. The crash took place just after 4 p.m. near 37th West on South Jordan Parkway. Police say the driver failed to stop and caused a series of fender benders. 4-year-old Demondre Brown was riding in the front passenger seat. He was wearing a seatbelt but was not in child restraints or a booster seat. The airbags deployed when the crash occurred, hitting him. Demondre sustained severe injuries and died at the hospital.
A nanny is arrested and charged with 2 counts of felony child abuse. A father of the twins who employed 20-year-old McKenna Newell showed police a video of Newell kicking, hitting, and covering the noses and mouths of his daughters. Police say the video shows her picking up one of the girls and shaking her. Newell was taken into custody this morning. Police say the 3-month-old twins were examined by a doctor who says the infants were not injured.
The chief of police for Manaway was arrested on Tuesday for DUI. According to the Utah Highway Patrol, troopers made the stop around 5 p.m. on Tuesday after seeing a cop car driving very fast with no emergency lights or sirens on. The police officer is identified as Chief Shane Ziles of Manaway Police. Highway Patrol proceeded with a field sobriety test and blood draw. Ziles was taken to the hospital as a precaution. He was cited and released at the hospital.
At least 11 people have died from the polar vortex. The latest, a 70-year-old man who was discovered in his home in Detroit. A University of Iowa student was also found dead in his home. Natasha Chan shows us how Midwesterners are struggling with the freezing temps.
It's freezing cold. My face, my toes, everything, hands, even though I'm layered, it don't matter.
And these are the coldest temperatures in a generation, according to experts, which means a lot of younger people under the age of 25 have never experienced weather like this. We are hearing from the U.S. Postal Service that they are still not delivering in parts of 6 states. Schools in the Chicago area are still closed for a second day. A lot of flights and trains still affected because of this cold weather. Over in Michigan, we have a situation where people are being asked to keep their thermostats to 65 degrees at least through Friday at noon. That's because they experienced a fire at one of their gas compressor stations, so the Lower Peninsula is being asked to limit the amount of heat that they bring into their homes, creating a further challenge. Here in the Chicago area, people overnight heard strange noises, boom sounds, which are known as frost quakes, something naturally happening when there's a sudden drop in temperature, with water underground freezing, creating a situation where the ground then splits, creating that noise. So in addition to the cold, people are dealing with thermostat issues and hearing strange noises. Of course, dangerous road conditions as well, with a lot of car crashes reported and some of the deaths coming from those accidents.
The well below freezing temperatures will last for another day at least, but the Midwest should thaw out by Sunday.
Gwyneth Paltrow's rep responds to a lawsuit the actress is facing for a ski accident in 2016. 72-year-old Terry Sanderson is suing the Oscar-winning actress for $3.1 million. The suit alleges Paltrow was skiing out of control and hit him at the Deer Valley Resort in Park City, Utah. He says the collision caused a severe brain injury, 4 broken ribs, and other serious trauma. Paltrow's rep responded saying, quote, "This lawsuit is completely without merit. Anyone who reads the facts will realize that."
After initially ruling out a run for the Salt Lake County Council seat, Shireen Ghorbani has decided to get in the race. Ghorbani is looking to fill the empty seat vacated by Jenny Wilson, who took over as the mayor of Salt Lake County. Improving air quality, affordable housing, prioritizing healthcare services, and protecting Utah's canyons are issues Ghorbani is looking to fix.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is helping young adults plan and prepare for missionary service with a new tool.
There became somewhat of a culture that, oh, you got to leave right when you're 18. And that isn't what President Monson or the other leaders of the church have said. We want them to come when they're ready.
The planning tool will help missionaries by providing a timeline for every step of a mission, from submitting mission papers to reporting to the Missionary Training Center and finally returning home. Many missionaries report to the MTC during peak times, such as the summer, hoping to return in time to attend college. By providing more accurate information about the timing of missionary service, the church hopes to reduce the amount of missionaries cutting their missions short for other commitments.
We hope that it will help them plan school, it will help them plan athletics, it will help them plan employment, so that they can actually decide, this is when I'd like to serve, therefore this is when I need to send my...
A possible bank heist is foiled. We'll tell you how this hole in the road may have saved a bank from being burglarized.
Several cars go up in flames at New Jersey Airport. We'll show you more of this video and tell you what sparked the flames.
He was so nice, really genuine, and took the time to meet each one of us.
And a sweet surprise for some students at BYU. Find out why the candy bomber was here on campus.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? na na na. How does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham-bam minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high-five.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders say that President Trump may be president because of divine Christian will.
I think God calls all of us to fill different roles at different times, and I think that he wanted Donald Trump to become president, and that's why he's there.
Sanders made the comments on the Christian Broadcasting Network yesterday. Sanders also said she thinks Trump has done a great job in supporting a lot of things that people of faith really care about. A secret underground tunnel leading to a Florida bank has been uncovered, possibly foiling a bank heist. According to the FBI, the tunnel was discovered by the Public Works Department while responding to reports of a hole in the roadway. When police showed up to investigate, they found the entrance of the tunnel with digging tools nearby. The FBI says they're now trying to hunt down who's responsible.
More than a dozen cars are damaged after a parking garage fire at Newark Liberty International Airport. Airport officials say the fire started on the rooftop of a garage just before 7 a.m. No injuries were reported, but the fire sent flames and heavy black smoke into the air. Airport operations were not affected by the blaze. The cause of the fire is unknown and remains under investigation. A plane crashes into a parked car and a fence at the California airport. Police say the owner was working on the plane when the mishap occurred. The owner accidentally started the aircraft and it started rolling. No one was inside when the plane started moving, so no one could hit the brakes. The plane clipped the car and then rolled into the fence. Luckily, no one was hurt.
A look into the lives of the homeless.
Find out what's being done to help the homeless community in the state.
Hundreds of National Guardsmen are returning home today. Coming up, I'll tell you what some of communities are doing to welcome them home.
And prepare to put on some more layers this weekend. Coming up, your 5-day forecast.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be earthquake next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So,
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at SaveTheFood.com.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Tris Pharma expanded its voluntary recall of infants' ibuprofen oral suspension drops. It's all over concerns that the concentration of ibuprofen in some of the lots is too high, as much as 10% above the specified limit. The affected brands include CVS Health and Equate, which is sold at Walmart. To check if your baby's medicine is included in the recall, go to the recall links on FDA.gov.
Utah leaders have taken big strides in trying to combat the homeless problem in the state.
Kelsey Carlson went out to see what homelessness is really like.
We've all been there. We're stopped at an intersection and right by our window is a cardboard sign. You may try to avoid eye contact, but it pulls at your heartstrings as you decide if you should drive away. They're all different, but they all have one thing in common. These people are begging for help.
So many people are where they are because of lack of support system.
Homelessness is all too common. According to Utah Workforce Services, there are almost 50,000 people who are categorized as homeless, many of which are children. Most of Utah's homeless population congregate in Salt Lake County. Salt Lake County also holds the most shelters and assistance programs in the state. But how did they get here? Mental illness, domestic violence, and tragedy are just some of the common reasons.
The average person is one decision away from someone who's homeless, one missed paycheck, one illness away from where these people who are homeless are.
Coordinator for the Continuum of Care Project, Heather Hogue, is trying to help stop homelessness here in Utah. With the new shelters due to open this summer in Salt Lake and help from different community organizations, Heather seems hopeful about the future. She believes that a community working together will solve homelessness.
I would say throughout Utah, the best thing you can do to help with homelessness is pick a facet that you care about and donate your time and donate your money.
Hollywood actor Kevin Bacon surprised the Salt Lake Rescue Mission with an unexpected visit. Bacon came to Park City for the Sundance Film Festival, but stepped away to go to the shelter and hand out 150 blankets. The blankets were donated by Sackcloth and Ashes. He was accompanied by people from 6 Degrees, a nonprofit which he founded in 2007. The Salt Lake Rescue Shelter focuses on emergency services and addiction recovery.
About 100 Utah Army National Guard soldiers are returning home after serving time in the Middle East. Savannah Higerhorst tells us more about the happy homecoming.
It's a joyful day for families and service members of the 65th Field Artillery Brigade. Some of the soldiers are home with their families right now. They returned to Utah 2 hours ago. Another group of soldiers is scheduled to fly into the National Guard base at Salt Lake International Airport at 4 o'clock this afternoon. The soldiers were away from their families for more than 10 months. They were deployed on March 26th of last year. Spanish Fork City has an exciting event planned for the soldiers as 3 of the residents will be returning home. Spanish Fork City posted this on their Facebook. Spanish Fork City would like to welcome home 3 soldiers from their recent deployment. These officers will receive a police and fire escort down Main Street tonight at 6:30 p.m. Come and show your gratitude and support for these individuals for their service. Now let's look at some of the comments on this post. This person said, "Welcome home and a big thank you. Welcome home, thank you, thank you, thank you." There is no word about what is next for these soldiers, but for now, they are just enjoying being back home with family.
Thanks,
back to you.
Thank you. Dozens of BYU students got the opportunity to meet one of Utah's most famous people. 98-year-old Gail Halvorson, best known as a candy bomber, visited BYU yesterday. During World War II, he tied candy to parachutes and dropped them out of his airplane to kids in Germany. Students and families got to shake his hand and take pictures with him at a meet and greet that was part of the Education in Zion program.
Something that I really liked learning about his story and what he told us today too was he just tried to be himself the whole time.
Halvorson was picked to be a part of the program because of his positive influence in the world. The purpose was to inspire people to use their talents to make an impact.
These 2 people are in critical condition after winter conditions caused a massive pileup in Pennsylvania. More than 24 drivers slammed into each other when blowing snow made for zero visibility. Transportation officers are warning people to watch for snow squalls, which can quickly cause roads to become slick and impair visibility. As we can see here, we see that the vortex is actually picking its way out of the States and going up to Canada. And we're getting warmer weather for Midwest. Down in Utah, we will see that we get some rain and snow this weekend. Well, looking at our highs of the day, we will see that we'll get 60 degrees down in St. George, pretty warm and nice. However, up in Salt Lake, we will experience some 44 degrees, 45 up in Provo, 28 in Vernal, and 31 in Logan. Going in for our lows of the days, we will see that Vernal will only have 10 degrees, so bundle up if you're out there. 39 in St. George, and 26 up in Provo and 28 in Salt Lake. For the 5-day forecast for southern Utah, they will experience some sun tomorrow. However, Saturday will be some rain and snow. And for the next week, we'll see some clouds going in for next weekend. For the northern part of Utah, we will see some sunshine. And then for the weekend, we will see some rain and snow coming in. So it would be great weather for those who want to ski or enjoy the snow outside. What do you think?
Or just stay inside and cuddle up with some cocoa.
Oh yeah, and some movies.
I thought we were kind of done with the cold.
I know. But
especially in the Midwest, I thought that we would be completely out of the clear.
Not yet. We will have some winters.
We got a warm weekend, though. I'm looking forward to that.
That's true. I can live with that.
Optimism. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Thanks so much, Carmen. Coming up, BYU released their football schedule for next season. See who the Cougars will play in one of their toughest schedules in school history.
Fires away, no good. Batted out by Leonard for an extra possession. McCollum takes it inside, and he puts it in.
Also, CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard teamed up to take down the Jazz in Portland when we come back.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
BYU released their 2019 football schedule yesterday morning. The first 5 games will be rough for the Cougars. They will host Pac-12 foes Utah, USC, and Washington, and travel for games at Tennessee and Toledo.
3 different wide receivers. To Ahmed, turns the corner, and is in for the touchdown.
After the season opener against Utah, the Cougars will travel to Knoxville for their first ever meeting with the University of Tennessee. The Volunteers finished the 2018 season with a 5-7 record in their first season under head coach Jeremy Pruitt. Following that game, the Cougars will return to Provo for back-to-back games against Pac-12 powers, USC and Washington. The Cougars have only played USC twice in their history, with the Trojans winning both games. Washington, who won the Pac-12 title last season, finished with a 10-4 record. This will be the 11th meeting between the Cougars and the Huskies, with the Huskies leading the all-time series 6-4. The Cougars' full schedule can be seen at BYUCougars.com. The BYU men's basketball team is preparing for their biggest game of the season tonight against number 4 Gonzaga. Gonzaga enters the game at 19-2, including 6-0 and first place in the West Coast Conference standings, with their only losses this year coming against number 1 Tennessee and number 9 North Carolina. The Zags won all 3 games against the Cougars last season, including most recently in the championship game of the West Coast Conference tournament. The Cougars and the Zags will tip at 9 p.m. tonight and can be seen on ESPN2. The Jazz lost big to the Blazers last night in Portland.
Will he finish the quarter with a perfect shooting mark? Yes, he will!
Blazers guards Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum went off, combining for 66 points on their way to a 132-105 victory over the Jazz in Portland. The Jazz got down big early, trailing by 18 after the first quarter, and were never able to cut the lead to single digits for the rest of the game. Donovan Mitchell, who finished with 22 points, tried to lead a Jazz comeback in the third quarter, but was only able to cut the lead to 10 before another Blazers run. The loss puts the Jazz at 29-23 on the season and 7th place in the Western Conference standings. Things will get easier for the Jazz as they will return home to play the Hawks tomorrow night.
4 to shoot. Wiggins has to go. Wiggins, pull-up jumper, no. Towns a rebound, lets it fly. And Karl Anthony Towns drills it at the buzzer.
Karl Anthony Towns of Minnesota hit the first game-winning buzzer beater of his NBA career last night against the Grizzlies. Towns hit this fadeaway after an Andrew Wiggins miss to lift the Timberwolves to a 99-97 win over Memphis at home. Both Memphis and Minnesota are currently below 500 and on the outside looking in on the Western Conference playoff race. We'll be right back.
Truth is, I'm impressed. I haven't been asked such intelligent questions in a long time. Thanks.
These are cool. Did you, what did you...
What?
A heartwarming story out of Texas. An adorable dog is reunited with its family after 4 years. The missing dog, Lucy, disappeared from her owner's property and for the last 4 years has been who knows where. An animal control officer found the dog recently. The pooch had a microchip with its owner's information, but the officer wasn't able to reach the owner. So he posted a picture and the owner's name on Facebook. The woman's daughter saw the post and a joyful reunion ensued. Today, Lucy is having a spa day and getting her first haircut in a long time. Can you imagine?
4 years.
I don't have a dog. I've only had fish, but I can't imagine losing those either.
What a bond between the owner and the pet, though. Like the fact that, I mean, of course the dog's gonna be happy to see their owner, but like the owner's like, I've been missing this for 4 years.
Do your fish love you that much?
And they're making all those
incredible.
movies.
But anyway, thank you so much for joining us today for Newsline.
For more information on our stories or to share them with your friends, check out our website at universe.byu.edu/Newsline.
Thanks and have a great day.